Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to episode 5 of the League One Review Show. We are slightly later than billed. Issue with the internet just before. It's been running fine all day. And then we get set up 3 minutes before the stream and it decides to go on the blink. So thank you for bearing with us. We've rebooted it. Fingers crossed we stick through it for the next 30 minutes. I'm joined tonight by the one and only Jake, Punk Chef 41, Sheffield Wednesday content creator. Thank you for joining us once again, Jake. It's not been a good weekend for us.
Nah, it's been rubbish. But
No.
the two things in life that'll let you down are football clubs.
Yes, 100%. That's the one thing that you can guarantee with us at the minute, especially Donny Rovers. At this point in time.
12:30 are fine. I've done some garden work. My shed finally down. I was happy. Come 5 o'clock, I was like, I've got to make a video. Crap.
It makes it difficult, doesn't it, on a weekend when things don't go our way. But
this is the problem with doing football content creation, because no fan can just switch off.
Yeah.
But when you then got to review it and then edit it and then upload it and then put it out everywhere, it's like, is it worth it?
Makes the passion out a little bit, doesn't it? We're joined. Costa Chow, welcome to the stream, mate. Just got back from work. He's putting in some shifts at the minute, the poor guy.
Yeah. Oh, you've been working hard.
Hopefully that money goes into the club later on down the line. So, if you're new to the channel, the way that we go through these reviews is kind of look back at games that we've missed, but we focus on our team. So, this weekend, Plymouth against Sheffield Wednesday, Wigan against Doncaster, but there was an international break. We did miss a few games that were played in there. Neither of our teams played during the international break, but we'll just have a quick flick through the 4 games that were played in League One, starting with Cheltenham against MK Dons. And for me, MK Dons bossed this game. Possession-wise, chances were at a premium. Boateng coming up with the goods on the 87th minute, and he's been given a chance this season. He was kind of on the fringes last season, fell out of favour with Russell Martin. But he's been given chances, and I think he's repaying that faith. A decent little finish. Did you catch the highlights of these, Jake?
I saw bits of it, but not a lot of it.
Yeah, it was one of those. I think a draw, probably a fair result. I think Cheltenham are surprising a number of teams this season after coming up from League Two. MK Dons, I'd expect to be up there or thereabouts in the top 6, or kind of in that chasing pack come the end of the season. But
one thing about Cheltenham is that they are defensively pretty solid. If you can build from your back and then have a good going forward, you're going to do well.
Yeah, and that's something that we're not doing at the minute. But yeah, Cheltenham, fantastic start to the season, and I think if you'd have offered them a draw against MK Dons, they'd have taken that. Another team who are surprising a lot of people, Accrington Stanley, another win. Shrewsbury not started very well. They're as good as Doncaster Rovers, slightly better. But Accrington, a very tough team to beat, set up very well by Coleman. I like Coleman. Not Coleman.
I know what you mean.
Oh, his name's gone. Let's have a quick look. Somebody help me out in the comments. No, it's Coleman.
Yeah, you're right.
It is Coleman. Yeah, very good manager. I think he sets up the team extremely well. And as I say, tough to beat. And I mean, possession-wise, fairly even. But as soon as they go that 1 goal up, you know that you're going to be struggling to get back into the game.
7 on target shows you that they know where to get that ball in. And
definitely.
The thing is, the more chances you have in on target, you're going to eventually get one that goes in. And it looks like that basically what's happened.
Yeah, and that put them top of the tree coming into this weekend, where it was top versus second with Accrington against Sunderland. So we'll get to that a little bit later on. Moving on to AFC Wimbledon against Oxford.
Wimbledon is such a weird team this year, aren't they? 1 minute they go, 1 minute. There's a lot of teams who have got no consistency at the minute. And yeah, we're 6. Are we 6 games in? We are, aren't we?
Yeah.
About 6 games in. And I understand people meltdowns and stuff, but consistent. If you get consistent in League One, you get out of it. You can't just have runs where it's a couple of games here, then you go on a couple of losing streak, then a couple of games there. If you can get 1 or 2 defeats, maybe 4 minimum, you go up.
Yeah, I think you've hit the nail on the head. Consistency is key in League One, and Oxford, one of those teams who I think with a bit of consistency they'll be up there. But Wimbledon started superbly, and Rudoni looks an absolute player.
And considering they lost Piggott as well.
Yeah, I mean, at the start of the season, I thought that loss of Piggott would put them down in the bottom 4 come the end of the season, but they're not looking back at the minute, mate, are they?
Now, you were kind of having that thing, you were trying to look where the goals were going to come from, and it just seemed like they'd gone, well, he's a great player, but we move on. And some clubs can do that. Yeah. Other clubs lack it. So it's always interesting when a club loses their prolific goal scorer, as he was.
Yeah, and the goals are literally coming from all over the shop for AFC Wimbledon. So a very good evening and a bit of a shock result for that week of games. But yeah, it ruined my accumulator anyway. And then the final game during the international break was Bolton versus Burton. It was live on Sky. And I do not know how Bolton didn't come away with the 3 points from this. Absolutely battered. Idea. Yeah, battered them possession-wise, battered them shots-wise. But when you only get 4 of 25 shots on target, there's questions that need asking.
It's a bit where you walk away in that game and the manager going, what more can I do? Because I always get really annoyed when people go, oh, the players are doing it's the manager's fault, but the manager can't go out there and play the game for you. He's at the end of the day, there to manage them and do tactics. Yes, you can get tactics wrong, but once they cross that line, it's on them. It's not on the manager.
I agree. Definitely.
I get annoyed at managers being told, oh, you're doing it right. It's like, go do it yourself then.
Yeah. I think tactically you can ask questions if it's not quite working or a change is not made. But I think looking at the stats and watching bits from the game, they did absolutely everything but score. So weekend. Yeah, it's one of those, like say, where you walk away and you just think, what else could we have done? So that rounds up the international break. We've got a comment from T Tight. He told me Rovers will be okay after the Rotherham game. I still believe that. We're riddled with injuries. It's not been a great start. There's no sugarcoating that.
You're a slow burner this year.
Slow burner. We've not even started yet, mate. We're not even simmering. But I truly believe it will come good. It's just going to take a bit of time and a bit of patience. One Rovers vlogs popped in as well. Good evening. But yeah, that rounds off the international break. With you being the guest, we will start off with Plymouth against Sheffield Wednesday. Let us know what happened, because we've got Plymouth in the next couple of weeks, so it'd be interesting to hear.
We were in absolute shambles at the back. We really were. We got this whole situation where we built the keeper up that we got from Burnley, Bailey Peacock-Fowler, the great thing. Made a massive error for their goal. He's one of the keepers that annoys me because he can't decide whether he wants to punch or catch. I'm old school. If you're a keeper, you catch it. You don't punch it. I hate keepers that punch it. Does my head in. It always leads to mistakes, as it showed. And fair play for Edward, the genius, to just like go, I'll just lob you then. It was just very smart. And our second goal, he didn't even have to do anything. He just ran to it. He got it on his instep. It was just such a weird goal. Our marking was terrible. We were just all over the place. It's like the international break actually was worth for us because we've had that time on the training ground to like do more, which is great. You always want more time on the training ground. But it seems like we lost that momentum a little bit because we got a win in the Pizza Cup versus Newcastle under 21s.
I don't want to talk about the Pizza Cup.
yeah, that's a sore subject for you guys. But we got that win and we thought, right, we can move on. But we're playing one up top at the minute and it's not working for me. We've got Lee Gregory, who's a good player, but I think he needs someone aside of him. So I'm hoping Darren Moore can change this. Go with 2 up top, maybe Berahino. And to be fair, their keeper made a fantastic triple save where he didn't even know where it was coming from. And their last goal, you could see our players had just given up because they were walking. They're like, we're just going to walk. My review of this, I was absolutely spitting feathers. I was fuming because we play like how we did in the first half and second half. Better teams And this is no disrespect to Plymouth because they are a fantastic team, but we come up against a Sunderland, a Wigan, or someone, we could get battered, and they should have won by more. We were so poor, but in that first half, we could have been at least 4-5 down.
Yeah, it's strange hearing that because, like, from what I saw of the game, the highlights and stuff, the first goal, like you say, it was a bit of class, a bit of quick thinking from Edwards. As the ball's come, he's just kind of overhead kicked it and it's lobbed Peacock Farrell. The second goal, as you say, it's a defensive lapse. But then, was it a case of pushing forward to try and get back into the game? Or
he made 3 attacking subs. He brought Corbeanu on, he brought Shodipo on, and he brought Berahino on. Great subs. And the thing is, and it's all right if you're going for trying to get back into at 2-0 at half time, we could have got back into that. And those are the right sub to make. Yeah. And he made them quite quickly. One of the things we've had in the past that managers don't make quick enough decision to change it. Darren Moore sees it and he changes it. Sometime, to his credit, and you'll know this from being Donny fan, he makes the attacking subs then let the defending down, which is weird considering he's an ex-defender.
Yeah.
But it's I can't. Fair play to what Moore said. Moore turned around and said, look, we had to go clap the fan. They travel 590 miles to see this. I know somebody who did it, and it was an 8-hour trip just to get there and back.
Wow.
And he did it. And I got a message at like 2 a.m. Got home, I'm going to bed.
I've got that to look forward to in 2 weeks. It's a game that
it's a mammoth journey. But fair play to Plymouth. Ryan Lowe got them set up and they are humming. They get on a run this year, they're up. For me, they're up. They are. If they get on a good run, they're up.
Big words.
Because he's making them hard to beat.
Yeah, which is half of the battle at League One, definitely.
Yeah.
One thing I will ask. I was listening to Radio Sheffield after the game, and one of the pundits said that Sheffield Wednesday is everybody's cup final. So teams are going to be up in their game to play Sheffield Wednesday. That got my back up a little bit. I see where he's coming from. You're a big club, massive fan base, but I think League One is so competitive this season.
It's so open.
Yeah, I don't think there are cup finals. You look at Sunderland, you look at Ipswich, you look at Portsmouth.
Look at Morecambe versus us.
Yeah, the massive teams. But for me, I don't think there's any cup final. I think every game for every team this season is a cup final because literally everybody can beat anybody. And I thought what they said on Radio Chef was a bit disrespectful to the rest of League One. Yeah. And I think no disrespect meant to Chef Wednesday. You're down in League One for a reason. Yes, you're a big club, but I don't think you should be looking at every game thinking, well they're going to up their game because it's their cup final. I think literally. Did you
listen to Praise and Grumble afterwards?
No.
Right. So Sheffield Wednesday fans were ringing that up, going like, acting like we're privileged to be there. In a sense, we're down here for a reason. We've got to rebuild for a reason. It's more use the excuse. It's still new players and they still need time. I can accept that on this game, but if he uses that 5 or 4 games down the line and we're still doing this, I cannot accept that because they should know now. They should know each other. They should be able to play together. And having a week off, you would expect them to pick up on these things.
I'd agree with you on that. We're in similar boat with new players and things, and it's not quite clicking at the minute. But I mean, look at Ipswich. We'll get onto them a little bit later on. They've had a big overhaul, and they look in a little bit of bother. But overall, do you think it was a fair result in a nutshell?
Yeah, definitely. We just didn't turn up. We stepped off that bus, and we weren't there. I'm hoping Darren Moore behind the scenes is a bit more angry than he was with the press, and I have a funny feeling he normally is from what I've seen of him. He seems quite mannered to press and keeps it quite calm, but I've heard stories from Donny over times that he lets rip when he wants.
Yeah, I've heard a few stories that, like you say, it's...
Were you met with him? Will you actually turn around and a player to go answer back?
Not a chance.
He's had COVID twice, and he's back to being ripped as hell.
Yeah, if Darren Moore asked me to jump, I would say how high.
How high? Yeah.
Absolute unit. We've got Ewan Sandland in the comments, do you think we're going down? Personally, I think it would be a miracle if we stay up at this rate. I'm guessing.
Early days.
The profile pictures, Maggi Gomez. Very early days, mate. At this point in time, I don't think we're going down. I think it will turn a corner. The form's got to come at some point.
If there's 2 games left till the end of the season, yeah, you're down. But you've got a lot of games to go.
Yeah, very long way to go. And on that, I think we saw a little bit of progress, not enough, but we did get a goal, which is a positive. That's something that we've not had for 7 games.
It was a very good goal. Very well taken.
The disappointing thing was we didn't hold on to the lead nowhere near long enough.
You did another fun last season. We did that all last season.
Yeah. But I think overall, as you can see, the stats, it's stacked in Wigan's favour. I think the better team won. Disappointing goals to concede. Richie Wellens has come out and said that the first goal wasn't a free kick. The second goal was offside. I don't think it was a free kick, but that shouldn't justify conceding from that free kick. You've still got to defend it. You've still got to be switched on. I think we should be looking to sort his own house, get his own house in order first before saying it shouldn't have been a free kick or what have you. The second goal, it was definitely onside. I've looked at it, and I think Kyle Noyle is playing in onside from the knockdown header. So no grumbles from me in terms of the 2 goals.
I'm always worried when a manager starts that way.
Yeah, I'd much rather him come out and say our defending wasn't good enough. We wasn't switched on. He's had a free header in the middle of the box. We need to look at that next week. I'd much rather him have said that than saying that it wasn't a free kick.
Am I right in saying he got a yellow card in that game, Wellens, as well?
I believe so, yeah. I think social media, both Wigan and Donny fans have said that the officiating was shocking. I didn't go, so I don't really want to comment on it. But when both sets of fans are agreeing that an official's poor, doesn't bode well, does it?
No.
But another defeat, a huge game on Saturday for us at home to Morecambe, which I'm not looking forward to because
they're a good team. They're very good at the minute. They've got a game plan and they do well. I'm really annoyed.
The new signings are starting to get a bit more time with the squad. It's got to start clicking at some point. Got to try and remain positive and stick together. It'll come good.
Definitely. Hopefully.
Hope so.
I'm really annoyed to see Will Keane actually doing well at Wigan because he was nothing at our place. What no point where he just didn't.
I agree with that.
Yeah.
It will start picking up. It's got to. It can't carry on like this. Do I think it's going to be an instant impact from Okunabiri and Taylor when they come back? No, because I don't think they're going to be match fit. But I think we'll see more positive things.
What have been their injuries? Are they just like niggles?
And ankle and I can't remember what Taylor was. Taylor's been out for a while.
Nothing long term, you should be fine.
Oh, so Ewan's kind of echoed what I've said. He was at the game yesterday. There were improvements, but just not good enough defensively. Every game, he's going to be a cup final at this rate in order to survive League One. I think.
Early days.
Yeah, it's early days. Don't panic just yet.
This was a cracking game.
Yeah, we will start at the New York Stadium. One that we didn't see coming, or I didn't. Rotherham 2, Fleetwood 4. And Camps ran absolute riot. What were your thoughts on this one, Jake?
Where did that come from Fleetwood? Their goal was superb.
Yeah. Danny Andrews free kick, unreal.
Yeah. No wonder Nappers were going mental.
He's a little bit happier now, Nappers.
Yeah, he's a lot happier.
He was a little grumpy, but now he's starting to turn a corner for him.
And if you look at it, in theory, yeah, Rotherham had the most shots and 5 on target, but it looks like Fleetwood had the most in terms of just clinicalness.
Yeah, I agree.
Fleetwood are a weird one because they'll have a result like this, and then next week it'll be a weird result where they lose by a lot or they lose by 1. It's that consistency again. But cracking result for Fleetwood, again, pretty much in form Rotherham.
Yeah, but Fleetwood, 7 points from 3 games, just shows, you've said it a few times, consistency can make a huge difference at any point in the League One season. So, cracking result for Fleetwood. And for me, probably the result of the day.
Yeah.
On to Charlton versus Cheltenham. We mentioned them earlier. Cheltenham looking a good team. Charlton,
Real solid.
I'm not sure what's going on with these. They're a team that I expected to be there or thereabouts, and it's just not started for them.
They didn't have a good recruitment period like they needed, by the sounds of it. I was speaking to Tyler about it. He was saying that the recruitment was just poor. And I think a lot of clubs got their recruitment either wrong, or I'm expecting a lot of free agents to come into a lot of places because there's so many footballers at the minute who are out of work, they'll get to a point in November, December and go, I just want to play. I need cash. They'll go and play wherever. It's a weird one, but Cheltenham, again, looking really good. They look really solid.
The disappointing thing for a Donny Rovers fan is Danny Andrews scoring for Fleetwood, Kieran Sadlier scoring for Rotherham, Matty Blair scoring and setting up for Cheltenham.
There's a theme coming here. There's a theme coming here. Like every other week, I've noticed that there's a Donny Rovers player having a damn good game.
We've let so many good players go over the last couple of years, and that's where I kind of understand some of the fans' frustrations about the board and stuff at Rovers. I think previous decisions are starting to impact us now. But hopefully the players that we brought in over this summer transfer window start clicking and things turn around. But it's nice to see ex-players doing well when they're not playing us. But at the same time, when we're not doing well, it'd be nice to have those inside our squad and not playing for teams within our league.
One shot on target really said it all for Charlton. That's the one they scored.
Especially at home as well. You'd expect much better.
It was solid when we played them at home first game of the season. They looked pretty decent and they looked like they could have something about them. It's that weird period now when you're starting to get into September and then you start going into October, and when all the games start coming thick and fast.
Yeah.
You'll see the mettle of a lot of teams soon with what they can do. Because
you'll see teams absolutely crumble.
Yeah. You'll either see the metal or the crumble, and you'll see a lot of injuries. But that's a cracking result again for Charlton. Lincoln City are bossing this at the minute.
On to Cambridge versus Lincoln, another shock result. Some crazy amount of goals this Saturday in across the EFL. I think there was over 100 goals across the EFL. But a rapid start for Lincoln in the first minute, 1-0 up, and then 3-0 up before 25 minutes. So the game's pretty much dead and buried at that point. And then,
weren't they?
Yeah, it just didn't hold up. For me, the fourth goal was the pick of the bunch. I don't know if you've seen the goals; they're all pretty decent, but that fourth one, absolute rocket.
Gully is a good player, though. He's a very good player. And
very.
Lincoln have got a chip on their shoulder this year because I think they felt very hard done by how they lost to Blackpool and how they got there. I think that's a team that got a little bit of chip on the shoulder and a bit of that kind of the gaffer's not been well. Let's do it for the gaffer. When the team got a bit more motivation than normal.
Yeah, there's that collective drive to do well this season at Lincoln. I think everybody's on the same hymn sheet, which is
always handy.
Nice to see, and it's always positive. On to Oxford versus Wycombe. Just mentioned the amount of goals across the EFL, and then we go to a 0-0 draw. I think it was just two decent teams that cancelled each other out on the day. Wycombe had the better of the first half. Oxford took the second, but there was no really clinical, clear-cut chances in this one. And two teams that I expect to be doing fairly well throughout the season, as I say, just cancelling each other out.
Yeah. The only thing that threw me in that game was watching Wycombe in a red kit.
Yeah, strange kit. Just didn't feel right.
No.
On to the next game. Burton 1, Gillingham 1.
Bloody Oliver again. Bugbear of mine. Oliver was in our youth team set up a couple of seasons ago. And
very good striker. Top scorer last season for Gillingham, I believe.
He was. He was in our youth team set up for a long time, and I was always hoping to see him get the push at Wednesday. Never did, and it just irked me to see him doing so well. I'm glad he's doing well, but I'm just thinking could have done with you a couple of times.
Well, it was a tidy finish from Oliver fairly early on in the game, but that's cancelled out by a long throw, which just undid the Gillingham defence. Couldn't deal with it. What's your thoughts on long throws? I've had this discussion with a few people. Why can't teams just defend them like corners?
Yeah, that is hit nail on the head, because that's what they basically are in a sense. It's like they see it being thrown in. It's like, what do we do?
Just like instant blind panic.
Yeah. If it were me, I'd just hire Rory Delap and ask him to just do long throw-ins in training.
I don't know if is it more direct, because like when you whip a corner in, you can kind of judge the flight of the ball a little bit more.
But also with a corner, there's a lot of man marking, and I don't know if there's that much marking when they come to direct throwing coming straight in, because it's a bit of like too direct, if you know what I mean.
Yeah. In the chat or comments, guys, let us know your thoughts on long throws and why the majority of
seeing them, and I love them when they work. We've got Patterson, and Patterson is our long throw taker, and he's very good at them, and he helped. We used it a lot last season, but we just didn't have the players who were tall enough to do it.
Yeah, it's another dimension. If you've got somebody who can absolutely launch a ball into the box, it's the
amount of times you see the Premiership where it's a long throw and you see someone like a 6'5" centre back just go up for that long throw because he knows he'll get his head on it.
Yeah, crazy. Surely should be easy to defend.
Flint to Cardiff is a prime example for that long throwing working.
Yeah, but onto the Burton Gillingham game, fairly even draw, a fair result.
Kind of cancels each other out as well.
Yeah. Another 1-1 draw. Shrewsbury Crewe Alexandra. Sorry. Let's have a quick look. So it was a bit of a sloppy game from what I saw. Two poor teams in League One. Well, I say poor teams. They've started poorly. As we said earlier, I think it's a very tough division this season. I don't think there's any out and out poor teams. I think it's a very tight, close division. But I think this is two out of form teams. Say again, sorry.
We got Shrewsbury next.
We'll see how that one goes. But yeah, the ball bundled over the line for the first, and then another sloppy goal for Crewe. Mikhail Mandron on the 44th minute.
These are the games that people watch who don't watch League One, who think this is what League One still like, and it's not.
Yeah, it wasn't a great advert for League One.
League One is so competitive now.
Yeah.
These are the kind of games you would have seen 6-7 years ago and be like, yeah, that's League One. It just hit it high and hope someone gets on the end of it.
Yeah. Not a great advert for League One, unfortunately. But this one was a very entertaining game at the Stadium of Light. Sunderland 2, Accrington Stanley 1, and 41 shots from, added together. End-to-end football, and only 3 goals from those 41 shots, because 9 of those 41 were on target. So clinical, probably
Neil
not.
Goal was superb. So for your first goal for your club, that is fantastic.
Yeah, very good goal. But for me, the thing that stood out was that Accrington weren't overawed by a very big crowd. A tough place to go.
About final, isn't it? Yeah. Some clubs are going to see it and not be bothered.
Yeah, and Accrington just went and played their football. The header from Nottingham, absolute bullet of a header, fantastic equalising goal. But some good football opened up Accrington's defence for Sunderland's second, and that puts them out as league leaders so far. And the table's starting to take shape. I wouldn't take too much notice until 10 or so games in, but a fantastic start for Sunderland. Will they be able to continue pushing forward? Because they've done it a few times in League One. Started well, but tailed off. What do you think? Do you think you think this is a season for Sunderland?
I kind of think it will, because they look decent this year. They look properly set up. They look ready for it. They seem like a team that's finally had that shock in their arm going, what are you doing down here? We need to go. And when that finally happens, he got a point. Travis has got a massive point. Yeah. Because they look well drilled at the minute. Is that a hint to say you guys?
I'm thinking if Sunderland continue the way that they're going, with the confidence and with the way that they're playing and just the collective togetherness, they've got more than enough chance, more than a good chance of winning the league
Boys
this
to keep
season.
it injury free as well.
Yeah. Moving on to this ridiculous game in League One. So we've spoken about the Shrewsbury Crew game not being an advert for League One. This was definitely an advert for League One. Morecambe 3, AFC Wimbledon 4, and it was just an absolute crazy game. Only 1-0 at half time to Wimbledon, and then the second half just went off, didn't it?
Went off, didn't it? Yeah. This is one of those games. If you're a neutral and you're watching this, say you've been given a ticket to this game, you're like going, and then you go to like the Wigan game next week, and it's like, why is this game so different to that one? Because it was such a just end to end. Both teams didn't want to give it up, and I love games like this.
It was just two teams going at each other. Stockton, audacious. Absolute audacious from Stockton to make it 3-2. About 45 yards out, he's just whacked it. And it's looped over the keeper. Fantastic goal. And I believe he's the leading goal scorer in League One at the minute. So Morecambe doing very well. Not looking forward to next Saturday. But AFC Wimbledon just edged it on the day. I think
94th minute winner as well. Come on.
Yeah, a draw would have been a fair result there. I feel for Morecambe.
Definitely.
We'll see how they get on next week against us. Another crazy result over the weekend. We mentioned Ipswich earlier on in the stream, and
what is wrong with them?
Yeah,
I know that sounds really disrespectful. It sounds really disrespectful with that, but like, what is going on there?
It seems to be a similar sort of theme to what's happening at the Rovers. A big turnaround in players, but it's just not quite clicking at the minute. Yet to taste victory in League One, and the amount of kind of money that they've put into this, you'd expect them to be much higher than what they are. But Bolton, fantastic performance away from home. Ipswich started brightly, 5 minutes in, 1-0 up, but then from there it was pretty much all Bolton.
Yeah, and Ipswich, it's a lot of players it's had to turn around with, and Paul Cook isn't one to like these results, and I can imagine their training session Monday morning isn't going to be fun. Even he may have even said you're coming in Sunday.
Yeah, it's not one of those that you want to be coming back into.
Now, but Bolton,
into training afterwards. Poor performance, poor defeat at home.
Yeah, Bolton just they look solid. They look like they're meant to be here.
Yeah, one to watch out for this season, Bolton definitely. And then the final game of the weekend, MK Dons 1, Portsmouth 0, which is not a result to be sniffed at. MK Dons going about the business very well. Probably the brighter of the two teams, and caught Portsmouth on a counter-attack. Fairly even game, just edged by the one goal, which I think we'll see a lot of this season in League One. Tight games, edged. I think it'll be a mixed bag of tight games like this one and ridiculous results like the last one that we looked at. But MK Dons edging this one.
MK Dons look solid this year. They look. I was worried for them when they lost the manager to Swansea. I thought they could have crumbled.
Yeah,
and it's like they've just gone. No, we're just going to carry on. Well,
can't fault them for that, and that result has put them in a decent position in the table, move them into the top 6. So we'll start at the bottom. We'll get that one out of the way.
Oh dear.
There we go. Without a win in 6, 1 draw, 5 defeats. We've only scored 2 goals. We've conceded 9. Jack Ball coming. What do you make of Donny's start to the season?
Honestly,
poor start.
It's very poor, and you're still waiting on this interview to come out, aren't you, from the board?
Part 1's come out. Part 2 will be coming out shortly from Liam Hoden. So I'm looking forward to.
It'll be interesting to see how everything gets said and stuff, because I've been watching your social media and it's gone extremely toxic.
Very toxic, mate. And I can understand the frustrations. I can understand why fans are kicking off. It's a poor start. I think it's compounded by the way that we ended last season. it just seems from a fan's point of view, although it's a complete change of squad and change of backroom staff and stuff, the forms just continued into this season, and the only common denominator there is the board. So I can understand why they're directing that towards them. Personally, though, I think they run the club very well.
You run smartly. You know, it's gonna sound really bad. You know what your expectations are.
Yeah.
And if you overdo it, you don't want to overdo it and then have yourself in a financial mess.
Yeah, but we're not necessarily clever footballing wise, and I think that's where the frustration comes in. As a football club, that should be the.
I think the last couple of seasons you've been very good signing wise in terms of your scouting system and bringing people in. It seems like you may have lost a little bit of that going into this season with some of the players you brought in. They're smart on paper, but are they what you actually need right now? You know what I mean?
Yeah, we will see over the next couple of weeks. I'm giving it till maybe 12 games, and then I think my thought process may end up veering in that direction. But I still believe in what we're doing. I think there's
just don't call it a project or the progress.
But I think there is a project there. And the thing is, with projects or long-term plans or anything like that, you're not going to get instant success.
No.
And I think we've got to look at that and be patient. But we can't be sleepwalking into League Two.
League Two will just be a nightmare.
That's the danger.
In
we need to turn it around quickly, or we are staring League Two in the face. But there's teams down there that we didn't expect down there.
Yeah, I remember seeing Rovers in non-league and at Bellevue, and it just the
good old days.
Deserve to be there.
But yeah, there's teams in and around us that shouldn't be down there on paper. Ipswich, Charlton, Lincoln still 16th. The table's starting to take a little bit more shape, but there's a long way to go. Smackdown mid-table, Sheff Wednesday and Rotherham. Thoughts on that? Is that where you're going to finish?
It's a weird one because I kind of said at the start of the season, I would have thought that even though the management and ownership and fans will want to go automatic first place and be up and straight, with how many players we brought in, with how we got a gel, with how we got I kind of always said we'd probably have a mid-table finish just because I know how hard League One is. And there's a lot of Wednesday fans who just think we're going to walk this league, and we're not. For how we played and how we started, that probably fair result. Last two away games, not been great. Need to sort our way form out. Home, we're okay. We need to just be more clinical. In that Morecambe game, we could have easily trounced them. And I'm hoping that the game at the weekend with just the blip and defensive frailty from last year and not coming back in, because we used to have a habit of going behind. And the problem is, the moment we go behind, we lose. We haven't won a game from behind in such a long time. And that's a really bad habit that needs to get gone. So if you're a team that goes against the first time, 9 times out of 10, you'll win it.
Like I say, not a good habit to have.
It's a mental thing.
Yeah. Moving on to the top 6, we've got a comment from Jesse. What do you make of Bolton's start? Well,
tracking.
Yeah, fantastic start. Sat 3rd in the table. Couldn't really ask for much more. Coming up from League Two last season, 12 points from 7 games. Played one more than the 2 teams above you, but yeah, cracking start for Bolton. I thought it was going to be a bit of a kind of steady in the ship season in League One, but from the start that you've made, it's positive.
Also, definitely nice to see Wigan and Bolton up there, considering the whole method they've had over the last couple of seasons. For the fans, that would be nice to see. I
agree with that, because regardless of the club, regardless of the location where they are in the country, I don't like seeing any club in any sort of financial trouble and potentially on the brink of existing. I can't imagine what it'd be like as a Rovers fan not having that outlet on a weekend, or not having that kind of that passion or that place to go. It's good to see them turning the corner.
When clubs go bust like that, I feel that friendships get lost as well with people because they don't have anything to talk about. Some people that all they will talk about is the football club and go to the game and that's it.
Yeah.
And sometimes you forget how much a football club is community based. You just have to look at Bury with what happened there. And to be fair, you look at what Ryan Lowe did there. He did fantastic, and then he just transferred it to Plymouth and kept it going.
Yeah, definitely. And football is much more than the 90 minutes. So Wigan Fan TV, welcome to the stream. Like Doncaster as a club, thank you very much. What do you think of Chef Wednesday? Hope it works out for you boys this season. Thoughts on Wigan's start to the season? Similar to Bolton, fantastic start, and Jake's just hit the nail on the head. It's great to see you guys up near the top of the table and turning a corner after the troubles that you've had over recent seasons. But making up the top 6, AFC Wimbledon above MK Dons, that'll be nice reading for them, definitely. And Accrington Stanley making up the top 6. So teams in there that I don't expect to be there at the end of the season. But League One is a crazy league. Long way to go.
Anything can change. Like 1 minute you win, you're back up there, next minute you lose. And the problem is, like I said, consistency. You keep that consistent. So far, Sunderland, they're having that consistent run and they're looking decent. And you just got to pray that your club don't get a load of injuries, don't get a load of issues. And hope we don't have another COVID situation, because no one knows what's going on with that. If that happens, that's going to reroute everything again. Because I think if that goes again, it's going to be a financial issue. But I think having fans in for some of these clubs it's been such a lifeline when they're going down. Like for us, I think it's helped, but also I think it's a bit of a negative when you have the fan travel all that way. They were still singing, and a lot of Plymouth fans said on my reviews, like, you were still singing when you're 3-0 down. It's like, I'm not used to that. It's like, yeah we're mental.
It's a long way to go to not sing, isn't it?
Yeah.
But if the season does get null and void at this moment in time, I'd take it. But I hope it doesn't. Really hope it doesn't, because it will turn a corner for us Donny fans. I can feel it. It's turning.
The only problem there is that all that'll happen is your fans will go even more toxic. Well, they blame COVID. It's like, well, it was a thing.
It's going to happen, isn't it? But that is it for episode 5 of the League One review. Thank you, Punk Chef 41, for joining me on the stream. If you've not headed over to his channel yet, please do. A link is in the description down below. Please subscribe to his channel. Fantastic content creator for Chef Wednesday. If you've enjoyed it, big thumbs up for us. Please comment in the section down below. It will go onto the channel in the next couple of minutes. If you haven't subscribed to me, please do. And all that's left for me to say is thank you for watching, and we'll see you in the next one.
Yeah.